Welcome to our series, 2D Art to 3D Animation, Snowy Intro. The first step is to create a snowflake shape. But how? Well, this video will demonstrate a way to do just that using Affinity Designer. Stay tuned! Hello, this is George at Bitulin. This video is the first in our series 2D Art to 3D Animation, Snowy Intro. Today, we're going to show you how to create a snowflake shape in Affinity Designer and export it for use in Blender 3D. Let's get started. Okay, we started Affinity Designer and now we're going to go File, New. For this we're using UXGA, so go ahead and select that and hit Create. So one of the first things I do is I create the guidelines to be right at the center point. So up here, if you click and hold on your mouse, left click, slide down, you can lock one at 600 and do this way at 800. So again, left mouse, click and hold and drag until it's to that point. So the first thing we're going to do is create one stem. So to do that, we're going to grab the triangle tool and go ahead and create our stem. And the beauty of this is that no snowflake is the same, so you can go ahead and make these look however you want. So the one I'm going to create is going to have a stem and it's going to have 3 branches. So what I'm going to do is grab this. So one of the important things, remember, is that you want all your geometry to be lined up off of that center point. So we're going to grab this and slide it down until it locks at that center point. And so now what we're going to do is create our 3 stems. Before we do that, we want to make sure that we have some type of outline to our things. It'll just make it easier. The outline doesn't transfer over into SVG into Blender 3D, so it doesn't really matter how large this is. So go ahead and what we're going to do is use this one to actually create our branches. So with it highlighted, we're going to hit Control C and Control V, and we've made a copy of it. If you look over here, you can see it's created a copy. So now I can grab this and move it around. And so what I'm going to do is make 3 at roughly a 45. And again, you can make these exact, or you can make them to just do it by eye, because again, no snowflake is exactly the same. Each one is adjusted or affected by dust, by heat, so they're all unique, which is the beauty of snowflakes. So we're going to go ahead and just rotate this a little, and we're going to bring it down here and kind of decide where we want this one to be. Let's just say there. And then so I'm going to grab this end, and again, I'm going to make sure that it drops on the center line. And the key here, just like making sure this lines up, is that in this design, in this method, you want to make sure that your nodes on all of these branches are inside the stem. They're not up and above something like that. Because when we go to join these together, you'll get extra nodes at these intersections and it'll just won't work out well. You'll have to go back in and clean those up. But if you keep them just below, you should be good to go. So what I'm going to do is use this one, and I'm going to Control C and Control V and bring it down a little further. And then I'm going to do it again, Control C, Control V, and slide this one a little further down. And kind of line them up where I want. Again, it's all by eye. But just one thing to remember as you move closer to the center with these, what we're going to do is there'll be rotation of these around. And so as they move closer to the center, you run the chance of them overlapping with the next stem. So in this design, but really in life, in reality, these get smaller as they get closer to the center. So I might bring this one back a little, and again, I'm just adjusting it by eye, what looks good to me. You guys can go ahead and make these look however you want. So I'm thinking something like that. Okay, so now what we're going to do is make a copy of these and have them come out of the bottom. So what we're going to do is highlight them all, Control C and Control V to paste them. And if you look over here, you can see there's an extra, now there's an additional 3. And what we're going to do is press this button, and this is going to flip it around the x-axis. So we go ahead and do that, and you can see that they're flipped. And now what we do is just grab them and slide them down. If you hold the Shift key, they will slide only in 90 degrees. And then what we're going to do is pull them down roughly where we want to put them. And again, you can make this exact, or you can do it by eye to make them a little bit different. It's really up to you. I'm going to just bring them down just a little more. Something like that. I'm roughly trying to get the eyeball to the center. I can do that. And again, for our purpose, they don't have to be exact, but we want them pretty close. So let's take a look. Let's go back and see what it looks like now. Looking pretty good. So what we're going to do now is turn these all into one shape versus the 7 that it is now. And so what we're going to do is select them all. And when you're done selecting them, they should be all highlighted over here. And what we're going to do is use this button, which is going to add all of these together and make one curve out of it. And there you go. So we're done with that. Now if you look at it, if you go into node mode, you can see that it's created just one single node. So like I said, is if you were off here on this, you would have multiple nodes here, and you would want to clean those up. You'd want to delete the extra ones, so it doesn't affect the look when it gets over into Blender and we start to bevel these edges. So what we're going to do now is we have this object, this one thing, we want to make copies of these and copy them around. So what we're going to do is with it highlighted, we're going to do Control C and Control V. And now the reason that we had this lined up, you'll see, is down here is we're going to rotate it, but we want to select this point, which is that point in which we want to rotate around. And then we want to come down in here and put in 60. And now we've copied it down there. And what we're going to do is go back up here, Control V, and now we're going to rotate it 120, which is the next one. And we're going to continue that all the way around. So Control V, and now it'll be 180 degrees. The next one will be 240, Control V, 240. And in Affinity, you can continue, or what you can actually do is grab this and go Control V and move this one in -60 and go the other way. So now if I zoom out a little bit, you'll see that I have 6, and it looks actually like a snowflake. But again, we have the same problem we had before, which is that they're all individual shapes, and what we want is them to all be one. So again, we know how to do that. We're going to grab each one, and then we're going to add them together to be one. And now we go to the nodes tool and look, all these worked and all these are perfect. So the only thing we might want to do is grab it and scale it. So we're going to hold it down here, and if you hold the Shift key it keeps it symmetrical. And we'll go ahead and grab it and put it in the center. And there we go. And that's all it takes to create a snowflake. And again, you can make the design on one stem whatever you want and rotate it around. Again, we have to be careful is that as you're doing things closer to the center, that they don't overlap or you'll run into issues, unless that's what you want. Some designs actually have, some snowflakes have, that they connect all the way around the stems, through all stems. So you'll have to make your decisions on what design you want. And so the final thing to do is simply go to, now that you have it, you want to output this as an SVG. So to do that, you simply go to File, Export, you choose SVG, which is Scalable Vector Graphic. You select it, the whole document, you export, and you go ahead and place it wherever you want to save it to, so you know where it is when you want to go ahead and use it. Go ahead and save it, and that's all there is to creating a snowflake in Affinity Designer. Hey, thank you for watching, and remember to look in the description below for links to the other videos in this series. If you found this video helpful, please click on the like button below, and don't forget to subscribe. Take care, and talk to you soon.